We are going to be recording this for the online section of the class. And hopefully my face doesn't sit up there during the whole presentation. Not on the camera. Okay, do you know hide? Okay. Oh, okay, we'll just put that there. Okay, perfect. Well, like I said, my name is Katelyn Rodabaugh. I'm the campus recruiter for BKD, and I'm excited to get to share with you some different opportunities within BKD. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about why BKD, and then what makes our firm different and what different opportunities within BKD. We will talk about preparing for campus interviews and a career fair. Maybe you are going to be attending the upcoming career fair on February 24th. Maybe you're looking at the fall. Making an impression, what does that look like? And also tips from a recruiter. I get asked a lot, what are recruiters looking for? And what are companies looking for? And I, right now, the first thing I was like, just apply. That's a great first step, that's what we're looking for. But it goes a lot deeper than that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Do you have a short video and hopefully the sound works in here? Video there. Okay, let's see if this clicker works. Hopefully it does. All right, so BKD and who we are a CPA and advisory firm. So that is going to be the main work that we do there at the top. Then we have three subsidiaries underneath that. So BKD Wealth Advisors, so if you think of financial planners, that sector, BKD Capital Advisors, and then we also have our BKD Foundation, which is our charitable arm within BKD. Our mission is to always strive for excellence in providing service to our clients, creating rewarding career opportunities. We'll talk a little bit about that, and maintaining sound professional business and financial standards. We have our Unmatched Client Service book. This is a real book. You will see it all over a BKD office if you go to an office. No matter if you're an intern, associate, experienced hire, you are going to go through that training and that book. Our clients also receive this book, and they, we give it to them saying this is the level of client service that you can expect from BKD. So we have our BKD Pride values. So we have passion, respect, integrity, discipline, and excellence. And those are our values that we stand on. Okay, so who are our clients? Closely held businesses, publicly traded companies, governmental entities, not-for-profit organizations, and individuals. Approximately about 3,000 people firm-wide, about 300 partners. Revenue this last year, $758 million. We were founded in 1923, so we're getting ready to celebrate 100 years next year. So we're looking forward to that. I'm pretty sure our marketing team has been working on the different things that they're creating for like the last 2 years. So we're very excited about the 100th anniversary coming up. One fun thing about Springfield, Missouri, I'm born and raised Springfield, so I love Springfield, love Missouri State. Our national headquarters are here in Springfield as well. So national firm, national headquarters are here, which does create a lot of opportunity. Our Springfield office is one of our largest BKD offices across the nation. From a locations perspective, we have 41 offices in 19 states, and we are a member of Praxis Global Alliance, which gives us the opportunity to work with clients, or maybe we don't have a BKD location. Okay, so for those who were here last night, I got the slide updated. So our latest acquisition was in Phoenix, Arizona. So now we have the 41 locations. So that has been added. And who is this firm that joined BKD, and why Phoenix? So Schmidt Westergaard has joined BKD just a few weeks ago. Actually, this happened, I believe in January. And of course, as we probably know, Phoenix is a very large metropolis, if I can say this word, very large area with a fast growing economy. With this acquisition adds 4 partners, 1 managing director, and approximately 30 new team members to BKD. So we're very excited for them to join. And a lot of their values line up with our pride values. And so we thought it would be a great, great acquisition. So we're excited to be expanding that. I had one student apply a few months ago, or not months ago, a few weeks ago, this is just new. And they put on their location preferences, location 1, Springfield, and they're from the Springfield area. Location 2, Phoenix, Arizona. And I was like, yes, I think we all probably want to go to Phoenix, Arizona, especially now. So I thought that was interesting. So, okay, what is our SKY initiative? So this is something, if you go to bkd.com, you're going to see on our careers page, but it is our diversity and inclusion initiative. We've had it for several years, and it first started out with gender equality within the workplace, and now it's got into diversity and inclusion. And so all of these people in these pictures are all real BKDers. It is not, there's no stock images there. They are at a leadership conference, innovating new ideas and how BKD can continue to be at the forefront of these things. So SKY is our BKD Inclusion Initiative. Okay, from an organization perspective, how is it broken down? So we have tax, consulting, audit, and accounting outsourcing. Tax and audit is what you're going to hear about the majority of the time when you're talking with probably an accounting firm. But I want you to know our consulting and our accounting outsourcing services are rapidly growing in the area. Industries that we work in, again, this is going to be firm-wide. This is not Springfield specific, but healthcare, manufacturing, distribution, financial services, not-for-profit, government. I'll let you read the rest of the bullet points there, but a variety of industries. And so what does that look like as a first year? Okay, so I know most of you in your junior year right now. I'm not going to fast forward college for you, but as you begin to think about what does that look like? What does it look like to work in a public accounting firm after graduation? What does my first year look like? Well, majority of students probably decide on audit, tax, or consulting service lines. And of course, you're going to get exposure to those engagements. I think one of the biggest things that sometimes students don't quite grasp, and especially you're in this learning, you're just trying to gather information stage right now, you get to explore different industries. So those industries I just listed off, you're going to be working on clients within all of those industries. And so maybe there is a specific industry that you're really passionate about. Maybe it's not-for-profit, maybe it's healthcare. Well, after a year or two, you're able to start specializing in those areas and the clients that you work with. Of course, you'll be working alongside a team of professionals on real client assignments, gaining experience to help your career path. Again, this is a first year as an associate, okay? An intern would probably have a similar experience too, but as an intern, you're just learning, how do I turn on my computer? What system do I go to? All of the new things, being in a professional environment. So this is focused on your first year as an associate. Okay, what else does that mean for life as an associate? Comprehensive onboarding, CPA exam and incentives and support. BKD does provide Becker with all of our full-time offers. And I will note, Missouri just updated the hours for your CPA. Once you have 120 credit hours, you can start sitting for the CPA exam, which is a huge benefit to students. It's one of the biggest things I see is students come in, they graduate, which is amazing, usually have their 150 hours maybe, and then they got to study for the CPA. Well, then they start working full-time too, and that can sometimes be a lot to juggle. So Missouri updating that to 120 hours now gives you opportunity while you're in school to start studying for that CPA sooner. So I'm very excited about that. It's helped so many of our students already. So I think it'll be a good change there. Of course, career advancement opportunities. No matter where you start, even if you start in audit and later on you want to transition into consulting, there's an opportunity there. People first benefits, of course, work-life balance. That was a big thing for you. And what does that mean in public accounting? So you laughed a little bit about that, but work-life balance. So it really comes down to the PTO and the boundaries that you set and the opportunities that the firm is going to give you. we have something called BKD Flex. And so your hours each week are flexible depending on your needs. So if you have something come up in the middle of the day, you're able to flex your hours however you need to. Now, of course, if it's a busier deadline time, communication is always key with the people that you're working with. But we know that life happens and we want to be there to support you. So BKD is very important. Mentoring and coaching, everyone is paired with a coach. And so that's a big part of your learning experience and growing in your career. Okay, this slide is very helpful. This is something I wish I would have known when I was a student and trying to decide maybe what major I wanted to be in. But the one thing about public accounting, especially those going after their CPA, there is a career progression track right here. And so your coach and you are able to talk through this. So associate, typically, 1 to 3 years there, 0 to 3 years. To move to senior associate at this time, you do have to have your CPA in our public accounting firm. But if you don't want to pursue the CPA, there are other opportunities for career progression. Okay, this is just the typical audit or tax, some consulting that you see with 150 credit hours. And so there's a steady climb. So if you're a goal-oriented person and you want to see it right in front of you, there it is right there. Okay, I am going to highlight Springfield a little bit, even if you are interested in another BKD location, but Springfield, Joplin, and Branson. So if you don't know where we're about half a mile away from campus here, right across the street from the Hammonds Tower, which is the really tall, tall tower downtown, right across the street. Yes?
I was just gonna say, when you guys go to the Career Expo, it's right across.
Oh, yes. So you're going to be at University Plaza Expo Center, and you'll see our building there. So, and then that's our Joplin office. It's a brand new office. And then we have like the Google image of the Branson office. So it's a little bit smaller. About 300 people in our Springfield office. Joplin has about 30 and Branson has about 8 to 10. So the sizes there do differ. But again, like I said, Springfield is our national headquarters. So that 4th floor of our BKD building is all of our national office employees. The rest of the building is Springfield specific. A lot of different fun things that take part in the office. So that's always exciting there. Okay, we were recently named Business 417, so it's part of the 417 magazine here, top places to work in Springfield. So this is a new award we just got last semester. So BKD Springfield is ranked number 7 on that list, and also rated the #1 CPA firm in the 417 area by people here in Springfield. So we're really excited about that. Some of our team members there in the picture. Okay, so some other fun photos. So these are some of our audit and tax interns. Last summer we did BKD Olympics. This was our first large office event since COVID that we did this summer. Everyone had a blast. One thing I learned at this event is that they're all very competitive. And so there's a lot of team spirit amongst all the different teams and a lot of medals and trophies. And so they went all out. And for those, there's some of our interns there having fun. Some other ways that we are involved, serving the community. We love to read on our Chiefs. Sad they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. And then just fun different activities. Those are some of our new associates who just started this last summer too. So definitely balancing hard work with having fun as well. So. Okay, and experience BKD. This will be something that you might hear me talk about. This is an opportunity to get to know our office. It's a one-day event, getting to meet in smaller groups, maybe work on a case study, meeting with some of our leaders there for lunch. There's our managing partner there on the far right, meeting with students. This was this last summer. And so we will be doing another one of those as well this semester, and each office does one too. So if in Kansas City, St. Louis, Oklahoma, Texas, we all do one similar to this. Okay, so I've talked a little bit about that. You're like, okay, well, how do I get there? What does that look like? So we do have internships in a variety of opportunities within audit, tax, and consulting, spring and summer. And I meant to update this before presentation, but so full-time internships are typically 40 hours, not the 30 to 40. And then our part-time internships will be around 20. I will say majority of our offices, if you're going to do an internship, especially in the spring and summer, are focused a little bit more on full-time, specifically for audit, because we want you to have the full experience to be able to go travel to a client site. In tax, there's maybe a little bit more opportunity to possibly do a part-time internship if that works best for you. Here in Springfield, we have something called a student associate. And what that is, it's a part-time internship throughout the year, continues throughout the year. And so it works really well with people's school schedules. I will note for the student associate position, it is focused on students that are wanting to stay in the Springfield area. So we want you to do an internship in the location that you want to be in after graduation. Okay, I have a lot of students that are like, I'm going to Missouri State, like I'm right here, like I'll just walk over to the Springfield office and do my internship. But they want to be maybe in St. Louis or Kansas City after graduation. We want to plug you in with that Kansas City office. So you get to know the office, you get to know the people, and get to kind of see what their culture looks like there, and getting to know the office. And really, an internship, the main goal there is for you, first off, to get experience, to get to know the firm, but also, what does full-time after that look like? And so we want you to get to know that office. So that will be a big part of it. And of course, full-time positions as well. No, I know this room is not quite ready for that at this moment, but those are our opportunities we have. Okay, so you might be in several of these buckets. So maybe you are pursuing an accounting degree and you're wanting to get your accelerated master's, 150 credit hours, CPA eligible, that's the path that you're going down. Opportunities within audit, tax, risk advisory, and other consulting services. Maybe you're not quite there yet, or maybe you decided just to do 4 years. We have opportunities within those for you. So accounting and finance, specifically focused in our consulting area, accounting outsourcing services, and wealth advisors as well. Wealth advisors is going to be more focused on the financial planning side. And then there are internships in all of these areas too. And when I say consulting, it's a pretty broad, vague word. What does that mean? So it is the opportunity to help our clients throughout the year. And so not just on the audit, not just on tax, but throughout the year, how are we helping them? And that area is continuing to grow. Here in Springfield, 60% of our clients are in the healthcare industry, and those clients are all over the nation. And so our healthcare consulting is rapidly growing here in Springfield as well. Okay, so you're like, heard about the opportunities, heard about BKD, how do I, what's the next step? We are going to be doing campus interviews Monday, March 7th and March 8th. No matter which BKD location you are interested in, you have to go through campus interviews. That's the first step. Applications are due on Handshake by Thursday, March 3rd. We'll be interviewing for internships and associate positions as well. So you can go, I have some flyers, I have one here, that have a reminder about it, and then a QR code to our careers page, so you're able to see what's posted currently. And I will say, if you're wanting some bigger locations, maybe like the Dallas, St. Louis, Kansas City, some of those internships we're probably looking at, the following year. Okay, so if you're talking about this spring, probably talking about a next summer internship. Some of those timings. Okay, but it all starts with campus interviews. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Okay, so now we're going to get into making an impression. What does that look like? So there's some bullet points here. And when I was first, doing some research and working on this presentation, I thought some of these, I wasn't very excited to read some of these. I was like, really? But it takes just 1/10 of a second for us to judge someone and make a first impression. 55% of another person's perception of you is based on how you look. What? No. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Okay, so why are impressions important? It really comes down to you are representing yourself, but then also future, when you're working for a company, you're representing that company as well. And so that is a big part. And it's also the first step in clients trusting you too. So I just thought these are some interesting bullet points that as you guys prepare for an interview, and I don't want this to scare you, this is just to encourage you, hopefully. Just think through some of these things. So when you are getting ready, and if it's something that you really want, I encourage you to just take a few moments on how you are going to be professionally prepared, not only in your dress, but also in how you have a conversation, maybe how your resume is put together, and things to that nature. Your first impression is always a lasting impression. So especially at the career fair, you're going to meet someone and it's maybe 30 seconds, maybe it's 2 minutes, maybe it's 5 minutes. That first impression is always a lasting impression. So take advantage of that. Okay, helpful tips for your interview. So these are some things that I've seen maybe some students not necessarily struggle with, but something that is easily like a good reminder for you all that hopefully it's helpful. I also want these to be tips, not just for this week or this semester, but something that you all can learn and carry on throughout your career. Always ask if you don't know, okay? Questions are good, okay? Even the basic questions. And even from a recruiter standpoint, I love when a student asks me questions maybe before their interview so that they can be better prepared. I would love to answer all those questions all day long. So if you guys have those, don't be afraid to ask. Be informed of your company's dress code before your interview. You can always ask the individual scheduling your interview, what is the dress code for this interview? What does that look like? Some companies, and you can probably look maybe on their website, you can kind of gauge, what the look is or what the feel is. I will note for BKD specifically, I always encourage students to dress business professional for an interview because, it's an interview. But I will say we do have every day of the week, if you come into the office and you do an office tour, you're going to see a majority of people in nice jeans, nice shirt, nice shoes. That's a typical day in the office. If you're interacting with a client, we call it dress for your day. And so if you're interacting with a client, well, then of course, business professional is going to be expected. But if you're just in the office, nice jeans, nice shirt, nice shoes, and it works really well for our students too. So I don't want people to ever be, scared of, oh, I have to just, suit and tie every single day at a CPA firm. That's not the case. Okay, we're just talking about the interview process at this time. Depending on the role you're interviewing for, the dress code might change. And so doing that, and also adding your personality. Okay, this is one thing I usually bring. I have an orange dress coat that I like to bring just because I think it's fun. And it adds my personality. It's professional. It adds a little bit of color, and I like it. So, so I just want to encourage you in that. Don't feel like you have to be just like get exactly what's off, the mannequin that's like, this is what I have to wear for my business interview. We want you to be yourself as well. Okay, some other tips here. Be early and on time. If for some reason you're going to be late, make sure you call or email and just let them know maybe the reason why. We realize life happens and we can be flexible with that. And when I say we, I'm talking about recruiters, schedulers, people you interview with, okay? It's all about communication. So I'm not talking specifically just from a BKD perspective. I encourage you not to chew gum, especially when you're having a conversation with someone. That can be hard. And maybe you're a pro at it, but I just encourage you from a professionalism standpoint to lead that. Keep eye contact with your interviewer. If this is something that you really want, you're probably going to make good eye contact and have good conversation. Research the company and ask questions. So a lot of you said, okay, what kind of questions do I ask during an interview? First off, do your research. Look at the company's website. Who are they about? Some of this might sound, of course. But I talk with a lot of students that at the end of a conversation, I say, do you have any questions for me? And they go, I don't think so. No. I'm like, oh, okay. And when a student comes prepared with questions and meaningful questions that impact you, I'm always very impressed by that. And I know our partners are as well. Another part with the questions, ask questions that are aligned with your values and who you are as a person, and see how that company answers those questions and making sure they line up with who you are. Always follow up with a thank you email. This is not a have to. I'll just tell you, if you want to stand out, that makes you stand out. And then virtual interviewing, okay? We live in 2022. There's probably going to be a lot of virtual interviews as well. What does that look like? The first year, 2020, whenever we started doing a lot of virtual interviews, I saw a lot of variety of backgrounds in students' dorms, apartments. Totally fine. I realize that you have to do a virtual interview in your apartment or dorm, but I'm telling you, if you can just maybe close the closet doors or clean up a little bit in some areas, it makes the overall presentation. Remember, we're talking about professional presentation. Good. I also, if you have maybe a loud roommate or something to that nature, you can always reserve a room probably in the library or glass here to have a quieter space for you. So virtual interviews, I know people sometimes get scared about those. It's not scary, I promise. Let's see here. I think, well, okay, let's go on to resumes. We're on time. Okay, so resume tips. I encourage you, now this is just from what my experience is, but I encourage you to keep it one page and keep it simple. The first thing that we're always looking for is your education. So I encourage you to put that spot towards the top of the resume, especially during the career fair when we have, a stack of resumes at the end. Having your education listed at the top is very helpful. We know, what you're studying, when you graduate, and kind of the timing. Or if you are 150 credit hours, that's what you're wanting to go towards, listing out your expected graduation date. With 150 credit hours, that's the first question recruiters, especially from an accounting firm, are going to ask you. When do you graduate with your 150 hours? Which means, you're going to be CPA eligible. So having that listed is very helpful. And then you can note your overall and major GPA. That is not required, but you can note that if you want. You can work with career services. I know when I was in college, probably your age, I thought, I can handle this, I got it. But working with your career services or professors are a huge help. And I will be doing Resume Madness next week. I think it's Tuesday the 15th. And I'll be there from 10 to 2. So if you like me to review your resume, I'm more than happy to do that. But your career services team, professors can be very helpful in that too. And then I want to encourage you guys to take every opportunity to meet with employers, career fairs, student groups, recruiting events, especially during times like these. It's very important. And I'll just let you know, we have a lot of exciting opportunities, not just at BKD, but I know in the whole community, there's a lot of great opportunities for you guys. But it all starts with your application, right? That's that first step that you have to do. Okay, some other things to prepare for spring recruitment. Handshake, I'm sure you have heard of that, and hopefully you have. Make sure your profile is up to date. You can add your resume and transcript to Handshake, and of course, attend the career fair and campus interviews. For campus interviews, be on time, take your time, don't rush through it, and ask questions. And of course, we already talked about virtual interviews. So with that, these are some times and dates, or not times, dates I will be on campus the next few weeks. So doing Resume Madness. We'll also be a Missouri State Employer of the Day on next Wednesday. So I'll be out here on the 4th floor. I'll have a lot of fun goodies. So if you want to stop by and grab some free things and maybe some snacks, I'll be here. And then we will be at the career fair and then of course campus interviews as well.
Did they change the date of the Resume Madness? Because Todd at the Career Center and told me it's Wednesday, February 16th.
I can tell you what it is. I probably am doing Employer of the Day on Tuesday.
Okay, I'm just trying
Follow your instructors.
Because I have canceled class Wednesday, so they got.
Okay, perfect. That's what it is, and I'm doing the Tuesday.
Okay.
So my apologies on my typo. So flip flop. We'll be Employer of the Day next Tuesday, and then Resume Madness is going to be the Wednesday. So my apologies on that. Thank you.
From a former student's perspective, Katelyn's predecessor was named Molly.
Yes.
And she was wonderful. And I got to know Molly very well because every single stinking time she was in the hallway, I stopped to talk to her.
Yeah.
She hooked me up with the partners from the healthcare consulting part.
Yes.
And they took me to lunch and tried to recruit me, and I was a stubborn jerk. And kept the job I was at for some stupid reason. But they later laid me off because that's what corporations do. But she's 100% right. When you see BKD in the hallway, first of all, grab a highlighter. Second of all, stop and talk to Katelyn or whoever is there for the day. Let them get to know your face. When she sees you walking in the hallway and she goes, hey, how are you today? That's a good thing. Okay.
Definitely.
So definitely.
And I will say, the more I get to know you, that's the better. I will say the masks and remembering people's faces is sometimes hard.
She is kind of your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Get to know her. Okay.
And again, hopefully I want you all to take away from today things that you can take on and other opportunities too. Now, I would love for you all to come, of course, talk with BKD, and I'd love to get to know you guys. And I think, what I'm most excited about is we just have a variety of opportunities in a variety of different areas. And so don't miss out on that. And that is what I have today. Again, campus interviews will be coming, but I wanted to ask and see if you all had any questions. I know that's, yes.
I was just wondering, with COVID and everything, is
Yeah.
BKD like working from home or working in the office? Are you strict about that or what?
Yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah.
So that kind of goes into our BKD flex that I was talking about. So we do have it's a BKD policy. You can work from home 2 days and 3 days in the office. I will say for an intern or first year associate, being in the office is going to be priority, especially for intern. And maybe your first few months as an associate and then talking with your coach of, getting more of a flexible schedule on working from home. But yes, that is an option. So we definitely see the value of being in person and being in the office just from a team bonding perspective. But we also see the value of being able to have the flexibility to work from home when you need to. So yeah, that's a great question. Yes.
How much would an auditor at the Springfield campus be traveling?
Yeah, great question. So what our partners say is audit associates start out with about 30% travel for their position. I will note that with COVID, we have been working with some clients virtually versus traveling to them like we would have maybe normally have done. Traveling is starting to pick up a little bit more, but I had a few associates speak to this a little bit last night, and they said, one just started in January and he's not traveling at all this spring semester. We have one that just went to Arizona. So that was his only travel for the spring semester. So it really just probably depends on which clients you're working on. And, whenever you graduate, who knows, where we're at and what that transition looks like, but they usually say about 30%. So
That's a lot better than the state auditor's office. When you apply within it, it's 75 to 80.
oh my goodness, yeah.
You're gone all the time.
Yeah, that's good. Yes.
So is there a conflict of interest? My mom works at BKD, so is there, am I allowed to work at?
Yeah, what does that look like? That would probably just depend on what position and office area that she works in. So yeah. We'll talk about
You'll learn all about that in the audit. We'll talk
Yes.
a lot about conflict of interest and who you can work for and who you can, and what projects you can work for. You'll learn more about that.
Yes. In the spring. That depends on the kind of which area, which location. So are you talking maybe Springfield specific? So, this spring, for example, from an intern perspective, I think we had a 4 to 5 audit, and I think we had 6 to 7 in tax. But then we do have our student associate program here in Springfield. And so we have a pretty big number of students that are doing that year round. And so that kind of, some of those numbers kind of balance out. But our Kansas City and St. Louis office, they have some bigger numbers, specifically sometimes in the summer as well for intern groups too. So that number is kind of always kind of moving number, just depending on, our team's capacity and the needs that we have. So good question. So I don't want that number to scare anyone like, oh, there's only those many, that's how many, that they're, applying for. No, we want to talk to all the students. So, but great question. Thank you. I'll say something. I was going to say something about audit. I can't remember what I was going to say, but it'll come to me. So, great questions, guys. I really appreciate you all taking some time to ask questions. Any other questions I can help answer? Yes.
How has BKD stood out to you with being a marketing major?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So I, growing up in Springfield, I knew who BKD was. And so when I was looking for a position, this was about 3 years ago, I started looking into different marketing areas and started working within some of our HR marketing areas within our national office. That's where I started. So when I say, our national office creates quite a few opportunities here in Springfield, that is an opportunity that I was able to start in. I did that for about 1.5 years. And then the last 1.5 years, I stepped into the campus recruiter role. So Molly, who you mentioned before, I was able to come to the career fairs with her. I kind of learned alongside her. She's still at BKD. She's actually my manager. And I was able to kind of transition into this campus recruiter role. And so again, BKD has given me a great opportunity to be able to do that. So BKD just stood out to me overall from the community standpoint. But then once I got into BKD, I realize the unmatched client service, the professionalism, and the passion that people have for their job. And that really stood out to me. So it's just a big thing. So and everyone's super friendly. That's what, like, I feel like we're all in one big team. And even though I'm not working with the auditors or tax, I know I can go to them and ask them questions and they'll jump right in. So. Any other questions? Yeah, questions from you? No?
The only question I would have
Yeah.
is, can you talk a little bit about, this week we were covering, well, the intention was to cover academic integrity, ethics. things like that.
Yes.
What do you see at BKD that they're doing to make sure that they're hiring people with integrity and people with ethics, and how important is it to them? that they're
Yeah.
hiring those guys?
Well, yeah, it's so, I mean, integrity and our pride values is right there in the middle. So it's very important to BKD. And I think overall, when we're talking, with students, we realize that you are a student right now. And we realize, if you do an internship, it's part of a learning process, but yes, it's very important. So, working with your coach and working with your teams on those things and, holding each other accountable. We also have a phrase called "don't go it alone." And so as an intern, there's never anything that, you're going to be doing on your own, or even as a first year associate, it's going to go through layers and layers and layers of review within multiple people to make sure that everything is up to the ethical standard it needs to be at. So that's a big thing. So one of our student associates spoke last night. She's a GA here at Missouri State, and she shared a story. She was doing an inventory observation, and she was working on this client, and they had to count all of the boxes that were sealed. So if it was sealed, they could just, write down whatever was on the label. And if the box is open, they had to go through and individually count those items. Well, the client was like, we didn't use any of those last year, so it should be around the same number. And, this individual was like, no, I need to count each thing. And so she took that ethical standard of, making sure everything was accounted for. And even though the client was like, oh, it's okay, she wants to make the client happy, right? But then there's also that ethical standpoint that you have to stand on. And she completed the job, and there were some variances that she found in that inventory observation. So her completing that, but still keeping the client happy, what does that balance look like? So that was, just kind of one example she gave yesterday. So good question though. Yeah.
And that's something you'll face as an auditor quite often.
Yeah.
And that's where your integrity and your ethics come into play, because you will have clients go, oh, we don't need to worry about that. We haven't changed anything. And particularly in a public firm, it's more difficult because they are not only a client, they're a customer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you have to balance that independence of being an auditor with also trying to keep a customer.
Mm-hmm.
But the auditor side always has to win. That integrity, those ethics always have to win out. You have to be the one that puts your foot down and says, no, we need to count every guy.
Yeah.
So that's a really good example.
Yeah.
Of what can happen on the workplace that really does test your integrity and your ethics almost on a daily basis as an accountant.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. All right.
Well, thank you.
Any
Katelyn.
questions?
We
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you all. I'm gonna stop sharing
Yeah,
now. Thank you
stop
all for
sharing.
joining us
Stop
online.
recording.
Okay, there you go.
Awesome.
I don't know where the recording goes, but like I said, I would love to see